When I first heard that my brother was getting married, I was overjoyed. But then his fiancée made a statement that left me stunned and hurt, not realizing the trouble it would cause later. I'm Emily, a 33-year-old office worker. My life took a tragic turn when I lost my parents in a car accident when I was just 8 years old. My 5-year-old brother, Ethan, and I were taken in by our paternal grandparents. Despite their best efforts, it was incredibly challenging for them to raise us, especially in their retirement years. 3 years later, I was placed with my aunt and uncle, becoming their adopted daughter. It was heartbreaking to be separated from Ethan, but at least we could still visit each other. The transition to my new home was nerve-wracking, but my aunt and uncle embraced me as if I were their own. "Let's take it slowly and become a real family," my uncle said. Their warmth and acceptance made me feel relieved and welcomed. Although their home was a bit farther from my grandparents, a 30-minute train ride made it manageable for occasional visits to my brother. Life with my aunt and uncle became a new chapter for me. I learned that being related by blood and having a parent-child bond are not the same thing. Through shared experiences and their unwavering love, my aunt and uncle became my true parents. Despite not being biologically related, our bond was genuine and strong. Friends who learned of my adoption were surprised, often commenting on how well-adjusted I seemed. But I didn't see it as anything extraordinary. My aunt and uncle's love and patience made it all possible. Initially, I struggled to open up, sometimes being stubborn and rebellious. Yet my aunt and uncle never wavered in their support. Now, as an adult, I deeply appreciate everything they've done for me. I wanted to give back, so I joined my uncle's company and worked hard, eventually becoming a supervisor. Their support and love shaped who I am today, and I am profoundly grateful for the family they provided me. Once we both had cell phones, I kept in regular touch with my brother through texts and calls, and I visited him from time to time. However, after high school, our interactions became less frequent. His responses to my occasional texts were brief, which is not unusual for siblings of different genders as they grow older. Despite this, my brother grew up well in our grandparents' care. He remained kind-hearted, and though he might have felt lonely at times without our parents, he never caused me much concern. He matured into a successful individual, graduating from college and landing a job at a prominent company. Both my grandparents and I were immensely proud of him. This year, when he turned 30, he reached out to me unexpectedly to introduce me to his fiancée. Though I felt a tinge of being overshadowed, it was wonderful news to hear that he was getting married. I deeply regret that our grandparents, who had passed away in the last few years, couldn't be there to celebrate with us. They would have been overjoyed. A few days later, my brother brought his fiancée to meet us at the house where my aunt, uncle, and I live. "Let me introduce you to Samantha, my fiancée," he said. Considering the journey we both had from losing our parents at a young age to reaching this milestone, it was a deeply emotional moment for me. Seeing my brother so happy made me feel almost like a mother to him. I was touched to see how my once little brother had grown up and was now introducing his fiancée. "I'm Emily, his sister. Thank you for coming today," I said, smiling at Samantha. "Ethan, it's so wonderful to see you after so long. You've grown into a remarkable person. Congratulations on your engagement. I'm delighted to meet you, Samantha." My aunt and uncle also extended warm greetings. "It's only natural for us to welcome you," my aunt said. "I'd love to chat with my future sister-in-law." Samantha responded, her smile brisk but sincere. I had initially thought she might be a sheltered young woman, given her background as the daughter of a company president. However, she appeared capable and confident. Considering Ethan's gentle nature, they seemed like a well-matched pair. During our introductions and while enjoying some cake, Samantha asked a series of questions to get to know me better, including whether I was single and if I had any plans for marriage. She also inquired about my life as the adopted child in the family. When she asked to exchange contact information before leaving, I was happy to agree. She reached out to me to meet at a cafe, which gave me a fluttery feeling of gaining a sister. However, my cheerful mood was quickly overshadowed once we settled down with our coffee. "I wanted to speak with you alone today," Ethan's fiancée began. "Since it's just us women here, if you have any complaints or concerns about my brother, I'm all ears." I was caught off guard by her directness. That's not exactly what I wanted to discuss," I replied, sensing an odd tension in the air. Her gaze was intense, and she seemed to be scrutinizing me closely. "I have a favor to ask before we get married," she said. Her use of the word favor made me uneasy. Yes, what is it? I inquired, trying to stay calm. So you're the adopted child of that couple and still single, right? She asked abruptly. Yes, that's right, I answered, a bit taken aback by her sudden questioning. Eakin is practically a stranger to you now, isn't he? Please don't involve yourself with us after we get married, she said, making my heart skip a beat. What? I stammered in surprise. We won't be inviting you to the wedding since you're considered a stranger. Wait, hold on, I said, trying to process her words. I may not be closely related by blood, but Ethan and I are siblings. I have no intention of interfering in your married life. I just want to attend and celebrate your wedding. I've heard that every family has its share of issues, but I assure you, I mean no trouble. Despite my reassurance, she shook her head, her expression unyielding. Please don't misunderstand. I'm saying that, even though you are family, you're still considered a stranger to us. I was left feeling confused and hurt by her harsh words. I struggled to grasp what she was saying and tilted my head in confusion. Ethan and you have been estranged for a long time, she said firmly. You're still single and living with those elderly folks, not even on your own. Being an adopted child and unmarried, it could be troubling if you were to rely on us in the future. Her cold demeanor, especially as the sister of my future brother-in-law, took me aback. She continued without a trace of empathy. It's out of the question for you to rely on us after they pass away. Wait a minute, I protested. They're still healthy. Please don't say things like that. Besides, I have my own job and income. Yes, for now, she interrupted with a sharp glance. If you were unemployed, I wouldn't have even bothered to greet you. Her harsh words stung. Anyway, we won't be inviting you to the wedding, and you don't need to invite us to any of your family events. Don't expect any support or care from us just because you're single. Her dismissive attitude was bewildering. Sure, I'm single, but I have a job and savings. The way she viewed me as a potential burden made me feel dizzy. I understand you have concerns, but not informing me about family events seems excessive. I don't think Ethan would agree with this approach. Just because we've seen less of each other recently doesn't mean our family bond is broken. She responded coolly, minimal involvement is inevitable, but please gradually distance yourself. This is for the sake of our happy marriage. If you refuse, it might complicate things. Her ultimatum felt more like a demand than a request. Ethan's proud smile from the other day flashed through my mind. This condition was unreasonable, but I didn't want to interfere with my brother's marriage. I was faced with her irrational demands and didn't know how to respond. That night, I was left speechless. When I shared the events of the day with my aunt and uncle, they were equally incredulous. Did she really say that? My aunt asked, clearly taken aback. She seemed so pleasant when we talked before. I was shocked too, I admitted. I thought she just didn't want a sister-in-law meddling, but it turns out it's more than that. She insisted we're strangers and wouldn't hear otherwise. What will you do? My uncle asked, concerned. I don't want to ruin Ethan's wedding, I said. I'm unhappy about it, but I'll skip the wedding. Once things settle, I'll meet with Ethan alone to celebrate. I understand, my uncle said. But if Emily is treated like that, we have no desire to attend either. Yes, my aunt agreed. It seems the problem is on that young lady's side, doesn't it? I looked puzzled, but my uncle gave a slight smile and nodded in agreement. The wedding day arrived with clear, blue skies. I should have been there to witness my brother's special day up close, but it couldn't be helped. Then my cell phone rang. The screen displayed Samantha's name. I had saved her number thinking she'd become my sister-in-law, but now she felt more like a stranger. I felt no obligation to answer, so I let it ring. The phone stopped briefly, only to ring again. Ignoring it led to even more calls. I muttered in frustration, wondering how the bride could have time to call me on her wedding day. My aunt and uncle, recognizing the name on the screen, chuckled sympathetically. I switched my phone to silent mode, but it continued to vibrate incessantly. I wondered what kind of face Samantha, who had so bluntly called me a stranger, was making now. Eventually, the calls stopped, but my phone's call history was filled with her name. I couldn't help but think of her as a stalker, which made me chuckle despite the situation. There were a few voicemails, but I wasn't in the mood to listen to them. That afternoon, as my aunt, uncle, and I enjoyed our favorite donuts, the intercom rang insistently. When I went to the door, Samantha, Eakin's fiancée, burst in furiously. Hey, why weren't you answering your phone? Do you have any idea how many times I called? Aren't you supposed to be getting married today? What are you doing at a stranger's house? It's your fault the wedding's a disaster. I remained calm and smiled. I haven't done anything wrong. I simply didn't attend the wedding as you requested. Samantha's anger seemed to intensify. That's right, you didn't come because I told you you're considered a stranger. Why would I answer a stranger's call? Why are you here? I asked, puzzled. Because your uncle is the president of the Electrical Industry Association, and people noticed his absence. Samantha snapped. Someone started asking why he wasn't there, and it came out that his daughter, who is the groom's real sister, was denied attendance. Just then, Eakin arrived, looking concerned. Sorry, Emily. I thought Samantha left without hearing me out. I didn't know it had escalated this much. I heard from Samantha that you wouldn't attend because you were meeting your boyfriend's parents and couldn't tell me. I thought that was understandable, Eakin explained. Quite a convincing lie to cover up not attending my brother's wedding, I said, unimpressed. Ethan's face fell. When people realized why your uncle wasn't at the wedding, they got involved, and it caused a big commotion. The situation turned into chaos. Samantha bit her lip and glared at me. Because of you, I was criticized terribly and called inhumane. If you had answered the phone and come to the wedding, things might have been different. You heartless person. I was taken aback. Heartless? I did what you asked. You labeled me a stranger and didn't want me there. My uncle, who had been observing quietly, stood up. It seems like the issue lies with how this situation was handled. Let's focus on resolving the mess caused rather than placing blame. I'm your brother's fiancée, so I should be like a sister to you, right? There's no point in continuing this conversation. You should take responsibility for your own words, Samantha said, her tone firm. I'll retract what I said earlier if you help me smooth things over. I shook my head. There's nothing I can do as a stranger. Wait, no, come on. I still have a lot of questions, Samantha insisted. Reluctantly, Ethan led his protesting fiancée away. Shortly after, their engagement was called off, and Samantha was left with the burden of the wedding cancellation fees. Despite her complaints, her parents accepted that the fault lay with her. Although her father was a president, his company was a small factory that relied heavily on maintaining good relations with Ethan's major company and my uncle's Electrical Industry Association. Samantha's actions jeopardized these critical relationships. Her father had to make numerous apologies, and Samantha was reprimanded and forbidden from returning home. She attempted to stay with friends, but following the wedding fiasco, they distanced themselves, leaving her without support. Ethan, reflecting on his choices, came to apologize. I only liked her because she worked for a major company and didn't have any family to trouble her. I hate that I couldn't see through her. We all tried to comfort Ethan. It's a good thing you weren't married to her yet. She put on a facade, and it's not your fault for being deceived by someone who hid her true self. You're too kind, Ethan. It's a shame about her, but you'll find someone who truly cares for you. I hope so, Ethan said, taking the donuts we offered. Here, have some of your favorite donuts. Let's enjoy some coffee. This incident unexpectedly brought me closer to Ethan, with whom I had lost touch as adults. The initial news of his engagement had been the catalyst for our reunion. In a way, I found myself grateful for that, despite everything. Watching Ethan interact with my aunt and uncle, seeing them talk like a real family, made me reflect. We often take those closest to us for granted and forget to show them we care. I resolved to cherish my loved ones more. How are your loved ones doing?